Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Ka Meghalaya State Judicial Academy ha ka Jinghikai bat ka Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. Hapo katanat kampo yang ka Sarkar India kala penlong ya ka program ai Jinghikai halor ka crime cyber bat the court law evidence and practice. Na kabenta kinong bishar bala penlong ha High Court of Meghalaya ha ka sisat jan. Habakran ha kini ka program u Justice HS Thank you ubapet ya ka Meghalaya State Judicial Academy udaong bakat ba ka technology kalalong ka jing pendon kam bakong san ha ka jing im baman la kasngi kabalala banle ya ki jing tre kam ha ki bang ha ki jaka die jing die bat ha ki kam henrei ka penlong ru ban wanra ya ki jing e ka bathamai ulakdo baki kam sniu ki la banle ha kani ka juk Mynta kim dan kam shu banle markhmat ni paramet henrei ki la banle na sha jingai lani na bar ka riru da ka panlong ban jinjar ban yo ki sabut ki babyang ni ki nong sakhi ki babyang u justice thank you ulong ba ka cyber crime ne ka kamrunar Lyngba ka online kila nangjur shashalong ulay thu ya ka wei ka mukot duma ka bayade bat ka wei ka nong sat an ka bala sha thok ban pha pisa khandai pho hajar hadin ba ka layo ya ka ko Lyngba ka AI balle menle kum upara bayatre lang ubalarang ba kani ka jing pha pisa ka bala penshisha Lyngba ka OTP lawat banya Lyngba ki number ki bayde bat habihar bat Haryana ulapan pau ba kani ka jing ai Jinghikai kan long ka bayarap shibun na ka benta ki officer nong bishar ban snotho halor ki kam thok Lyngba ka online bat ya ka jing la ka yeng bishar ban yale persha ya kum kini ki jat jingja ha kani ka program lapan long ya ka Jinghikai ki babun jat u Nishit Dixit u nong yasat an bat ubadeiru u cyber law consultant ka Rajasthan High Court ula ai jingkren halor ka cyber crime bat ki cyber laws u Deepak Kumar u senior cyber intelligence bat u forensic expert ha ka IFOC katnat kampo yeng ula ai ka jinget ho lingkot halor ka rukom trekam jong ka IFOC ki jing shakri jong ka bat ki jing long bathamai bat ki jing job pakongsan
we have become slaves to technology. You shop online, you bank online, you work online, and so with all these comes these challenges that we have. And I don't need to repeat that crimes now have taken a total different dimension. They don't require physical presence. It's transnational. Victims are in multiple jurisdictions. No tangible evidence, such as eyewitnesses, etc. And the tools that we use to detect the traditional crimes, that is where you all come in. The tools that are used by the law enforcement agencies and by the courts to address or to try traditional crimes. Now, with this technology, they have become ineffective. So, how do we equip ourselves to meet these challenges? Now, you have seen that in the Indian criminal justice system, there have been amendments. Then we have those three colonial era laws, the Indian Penal Code, CRPC, and the Indian Evidence Act, which have been upgraded or replaced by the three new acts, where certain incorporations have been made to address the situation with regard to jurisdiction, with regard to offences, with regard to preservation of evidence, so on and so forth. So, I do not want to linger because I also am keen to be of the first session to gain some knowledge and to also equip ourselves. I can just give an example that even in my court now, the amount of cases of cybercrime that have come, even a small place like Shillong, Thalamin, where AI is being used to mock voices, to induce people to make payments. I can just give you a case in point. It involves a lawyer of this court itself. I'll not name her. Then she received a call from a senior of this court, asking her, saying, look, I'm just out, like, can you just transfer 90,000 to account? In the evening, I'll repatriate it to your account. He said, yes sir, I'll do it. And it was so convincing, and she sent this amount, used the OTP from the bank, the UPI payment whatever, and found out later in the evening that when she called the senior, he said, I never made the call. So she was, confused, and so she went to, then she called up the bank. The bank said it's a valid transaction as far as the bank is concerned because you made a request, the OTP was sent, and you sent the number. And so it started the chain of events which also exposed me to how this thing works. Where multiple numbers were used, I directed for status reports to be filed, and a number of person from Bihar, that was the number used, then triangulated the call from Haryana, and when the person from Bihar was brought to Shillong to be produced for the magic, he was just a peasant. He had no idea that his number had been used to effect this kind of cybercrime. And so, how we address and how these issues, I think Mr. Dixit is here to throw a lot of light as how courts have been alive to the new situations. Also, frozen accounts, how accounts being frozen now, and the multiple agencies are involved also in tracking the account. In some cases, what happens is that the account is frozen automatically. Now, in some cases, suppose the deposit is from a postal account, then there are a lot of interlayered, these difficulties facing these enforcement agencies also. Results in some innocent people also, the account being frozen, not being able to run the businesses. So these are all the issues which I hope, you will, from this program, we have good takeaways. And of course, about data preservation and that is electronic data preservation, those other aspects. But firstly is how will courts deal when a matter comes to court.
If I received a message and I have forwarded it to in a group, you can say, I cannot say before the court, sorry sir, I just forwarded. It's my liability. So now the issue is different. The gone are the days then, just only SMS you had, now you have multiple social media platforms. So the biggest challenge is the understanding of cyber crimes. A simple question I want to ask: if I am using my mobile phone, and this device belongs to me, the internet belongs to me, and I made a WhatsApp call, VoIP call, that is voice over internet protocol, not simple phone, voice over internet protocol to ma'am, and I threatened ma'am, I intimidated ma'am. Clear, sir? The question is, I am using smartphone, this device belongs to me, internet belongs to me, and I made a WhatsApp call to her, I intimidated her. Is it a cybercrime? It's a cybercrime because information technology has been misused, you can say internet has been used, the telecom communication device has been used. So, the second question is challenging, downline. Whether it is punishable under only IPC or BNS, whether it is punishable only under IT Act, or whether it is punishable under both, you can say IPC, BNS and IT Act. Both. Answer is only IPC. This is the biggest challenge. So we have to be very careful about understanding of cybercrime. Cybercrime doesn't mean it always attract IT Act. What happens practically? I was under pressure, investigating officer is under pressure, oh, mobile has been used, or telecom has been used, this is cybercrime. So IT Act to either, okay, I will invoke IT Act first. So what he uses 66 IT Act, computer related offences. First section he invokes 66 computer related offence, mobile is computer, okay, computer related offence, then 506, earlier you can say acquainted with IPC, 506, criminal intimidation. This is blunder. So we have three categories in cyber crimes as far as law is concerned. First category, it is a cyber crime but is only punishable under conventional law like IPC, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, local laws also. Suppose I am using my device again, I connect it to Facebook and I commented on Facebook, this officer is corrupted officer. This officer is a corrupted officer. Yes, it's a cyber crime, but again it's a non-cognizable defamation. There is no role of IT Act. But if I have used the picture of that person, photograph, and announcing this officer is a corrupted officer, now IT Act is having the role. Unique identity. I have used his or her photograph. That is 66C IT Act, unique identity, to defame her or him. So we have to be very careful regarding when we are going to frame charge, whether it is applicable or not. This section is applicable or not. So first category, yes, it is cybercrime, but punishable under only IPC, BNS, or you can say local laws. Second category, okay, now I am changing the scenario. I am here as a guest faculty today. I am using my device, but with the permission, I am using Wi-Fi of academy or high court. Clear? Device is mine, but the internet is high courts. And I made a same call and intimidated ma'am. Now IT Act and IPC. I was authorized to access Wi-Fi of the academy, but I was not supposed to use in this manner. So I have exceeded my authority. So exceeding authorized access is also unauthorized access. So here we can invoke both IT Act and IPC, or you can say BNS. I hope it's clear. Now third category, it's very important. Third category, because we have a very important section under IT Act, that is section 81. If IT Act is inconsistent with other act, the IT Act is having the overriding effect. Section 81. Special Act overrides General Act. So section 81 is very important. As a defense lawyer, we always object before the court, my lords, this is not IPC, IT Act is having the overriding effect, they cannot invoke IPC. Because most of the time what happens, most sections of IT Act you can say accused friendly, you can say. Most sections are bailable offences. So what happens practically, investigating officer invokes IPC, 420. 420 is a favorite section of law enforcement agency, okay, just to cover up within a square non-bailable offence. But it's a blunder. They have to be very careful. First category, whether it is punishable under only IPC. Second category, IPC and BNS, IT Act. And third category is very important, IT Act overrides IPC. So starting with the first case of India, that was Baji.com case, 2004. 2004, and it was, you can say that it's a child porn content, but it was uploaded on a website, that is Baji.com. Immediately, the managing director of Baji.com was arrested. So here, two things are very important. Uploading a child porn content at that time, in 2004, you can say, at that time there was obscene content. 67 IT Act, only obscene content was available under IT Act. So 67 was invoked. But what about the liability of intermediary? The platform. Somebody has uploaded a content on the website. What's the liability of that intermediary? So at that time there was no safe harbor law. Now we have safe harbor law under section 79 of IT Act. At that time the managing director was arrested. He was discharged because of a very important section under IT Act, that is section 85. That is offences by companies. The best lawyers objected before the court that company was not made as an accused. And managing director is acting on behalf of the company. So we have to be very careful regarding these sections, offences by companies, whether company has been made as an accused or not. So in this case, MD was free at the time, got escape route. But the challenge was another co-accused, Sharad Babu Digumurti. It's a very landmark judgment of Honorable Supreme Court. Sharad Babu Digumurti versus State of NCT 2016 Supreme Court. It's a landmark case regarding IT Act overrides the IPC.com case. But because 67 you cannot invoke because company was not paid as an accused at that time. But what happened in this case? Prosecution invoked IPC section 292-294. Okay, let it be. We cannot invoke 67 because company was not paid as an accused. So let's invoke 292-294. But Apex Court clarified. If you go through by the law, earlier law 292 and 294, it covers physical obscenity, like physical content. You can say, like somebody has placed a notice board, pamphlet, somebody is distributing pamphlets. Okay, not electronic form. The content was uploaded on website. It means electronic form. So electronic form 67 overrides 292-294 of IPC. Because there was no physical obscenity, physical mode was not used, only electronic mode was used. So we have to be very careful regarding this part. Because same offence is punishable under IT Act and same offence is punishable under IPC at that time. But the mode was used electronic form. So this is very important as far as my first introduction is concerned. So we have three categories. First is cybercrime against, you can say, if suppose your system is compromised. Target, computer has been used as a target. So we have three specific sections under IT Act. Suppose this system has been compromised. Somebody has attacked this system. Somebody has hacked this system. We have proper section under IT Act, that is section 66 read with 43 small a. The proper section of hacking is 66 read with 43 small a. But it's bailable, cognizable, punishment 3 years maximum. So under IT Act we have three sections regarding hacking. Simple hacking is 66 43 small a, bailable, cognizable, punishment 3 years. But suppose this academy system has been declared by state government of Meghalaya or central government, you can say, as protected system under section 70 of IT Act. Similar system, but has been declared as protected system under section 70. The punishment is 10 years. It's a non-bailable offence. So that's very important. We have to be very careful. IO has to be very careful whether this system has been declared by state government or central government as protected system or not. So mostly banking systems have been declared by NCIIPC, that is National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. More than 40 like computer resources have been declared as protected systems under section 70.